everyone, Brandy Yvette here with Just Swallow the Pill. I am here with my special guest, Muse from Venus Clapback. She has a podcast with Colette, and they talk about
all things Black women.
Yes. So check her out at
Venus Clapback.
at
Facebook, Instagram, and on the website.
Okay. Follow her on Instagram,
Facebook, the website. It's all Venus Clapback.
Oh, so it's at. So put the at,
Yeah.
and then Venus Clapback, and then search everything Venus Clapback. Are you guys on Google Play? Google? Do you guys do that?
I know we're on Apple and SoundCloud. I don't know if we do Google Play.
Okay. Because I know you
Probably.
guys were on
Maybe.
Apple. I don't have no Apples.
That's fine. SoundCloud.
So I don't have no Apples, y'all. I am a Galaxy
Or
girl.
that's fine. Or just YouTube, Venus Clapback.
Okay, so yeah, YouTube, Venus Clapback. Okay, so Muse has joined me today because we are going to talk about accountability. Accountability is one of those things that we all are faced with, especially when we have decided to part ways with a significant other, whether that be a breakup from a long-term relationship or whether that is a divorce. We all are faced with things that we may have been accountable for, and things that we're not necessarily accountable for, but we took a part in that. And so what we're going to talk about in our two-part conversation is accountability. So the first thing we're going to kind of dive into is, what does accountability mean? So I'm going to let Muse answer that for us. What does accountability mean to you?
Accountability to me means that whatever decisions I make, I own up to them. Let's see. Yeah, whatever decisions I make, I own up to them, whether it results in something good or something bad. I made a choice, and the decision was made, and there are results from that. So it just depends on you, because I think that the definition of accountability will be different for everybody. But
Right.
for me, it's definitely the fact that, like, oh shit, I turned the lights on, left them on, the electric bill is high.
Right.
That's on me.
Right. I think a lot of times when it comes to accountability, it bothers me when people do things, right? Like, you were intentional about the thing that you did, but you don't want to like say you did it.
Okay.
Like, we both know you did this, but the other person just does not want to be. It's like death almost. It's like if they say, yes, I fucked up, they will die.
True.
It goes into, I think, personal growth and self-awareness.
Yeah.
And I feel like when you are not accountable for the things that you do, you essentially are saying to people you don't care.
Sure. I could get with that.
What do you think?
50-50. Because if people aren't self-aware, then they're probably not totally sure that this is what they're doing to the crowd at large. Self-awareness is not something that, we are just born with and we just take hold of and we're running with it. Like, you have to have gone through some things, seen some things, and then once you're in a position in life where you're like, okay, obviously something needs to change, then that's when the self-awareness part comes in. But if you've been rolling willy-nilly and you've been rolling unchecked for so many years,
right,
then what you're doing for you is fine. It's cool.
Right.
Like, that's the problem. And so for those of us who are self-aware, or those of us who are tired of getting run over, then that's where the clash begins, because it's like, I've met my limit here, and this person is like, well, this is normal. People just let me do this. And then that's where you get the divide.
Right.
Right.
Right. And no, it is a divide. And I do think the planet is divided by those who are accountable and those who are not accountable for their own actions. And I know one thing, like for me, when I was going through my divorce, I had to, and that's again going into like knowing your role in situations.
Right.
Because not everybody, so I'll say this. Everybody says things like it takes two for a relationship to fail or succeed, right?
Right.
And so for a long time, I was like, it's not my fault. That's not my fault. My marriage failed. That was not my fault. That was not my fault. And I am not going to let nobody tell me that it was my fault.
Right.
And after growing and thinking and reflecting, because that's a part of being accountable too, you have to absolutely reflect on the things that have happened.
Yeah.
And you have to be utterly honest with yourself, like the most naked you've ever been. And I had to strip down and become naked and dig up that nasty stuff about myself that I didn't want to face.
Yeah.
And I realized that my accountability in the situation was I shouldn't have even married this person. Like, this wouldn't have even happened if I would have said, no, I'm not going to accept cheating. I'm not going to accept this maybe baby.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to accept these things that you're doing to me before we even get married.
Yeah.
And so,
and that's the hard part that women don't like to swallow, is the fact that in the confines of marriage, I've never been married. I'm totally okay on that. But as it relates to relationships or marriage or divorce, you can ask anybody, I'm sure you can attest to it. Like, there were many signs prior to putting a ring on it, whether engagement or the whole marriage ceremony, where you were just like, what the fuck is this?
Right.
Like, I don't want this, I don't deserve this, blah, 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 blah. But for whatever reasons, you still go follow through with it. And then when you come out of it, all of a sudden it's something that was done to you that you voluntarily walked through.
Right.
You know, and it's not to always put on the partner, because you allowed it. And
Right.
that's the biggest pill to swallow.
Right.
Is how much voluntary actions you put forth and getting your heart broken. Like, you have to own that.
Right.
You do.
Right. And I will say that was very difficult for me to face. Like, damn, like, I literally let this happen. Like, I sat back and let this shit happen to me. And I think it also starts other wheels to turn, because it makes you think, like, do I love myself? Because if I really loved myself, I wouldn't even have let this happen. And so there's so many other roads that being accountable or reflecting and realizing your role and being accountable for the things that took place. And again, not saying that you are responsible or that you are or have to be accountable for everything that has happened, because that's just not necessarily the case. It's just not. Everyone has a role in a situation, no matter what that role is, good or bad.
Yeah.
And so once you start to become self-aware, and then you start to realize your accountability, it progresses your healing. It catapults you into this direction, and then you start to apply that in many other areas of your life. So it doesn't just stop at relationships. It goes into family members. It goes into your friendships. But then you start holding others accountable too. And
we also have to recognize what our bullshit threshold is, because everybody has a different one. So my bullshit threshold is very low, but other people
I get, yeah, it is.
but other people can deal with, people saying one thing and doing another. People have high thresholds for abuse. People have high thresholds for, acts of mistrust or cheating. And like everybody's threshold is different. So you need to figure out what your bullshit threshold is. And under that is where you will then create your boundaries and accountability. Because if a strike for you is, he said he's gonna call me at 9, he called me at 9:30, and that's where your bullshit threshold is, and you're done, then that's where your bullshit threshold is.
Right.
And under that guise is where you can create your boundaries and your standards and all that. But if your bullshit threshold goes pretty high, my sister, then you're gonna have to be accountable to whatever those feelings are, all the way up until you've hit until you've bottomed out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Everybody has their limit. Basically, that's essentially what I'm saying. I just call it a bullshit threshold.
Well, I like how you said you have to be accountable for everything that happens.
You do.
Up until you bottom out.
Yeah.
And I've never heard it put that way before, and I like that.
Like what you were saying, prior to the marriage, there was cheating or maybe baby or whatever. Like, so how much cheating was there?
An extreme amount.
Post marriage pre and post? Let's say how many, let's just give it a guesstimate.
So let's just say he cheated probably twice before we got married. But understand this, that we were only engaged for 60 days. So that's a lot for 2 months to cheat 2 times. After we got married, child, it went on and on to the break of dawn, child. It just, the cows came home.
But at what number was your bottoming out?
I didn't even have one.
You need to learn that. It's cheating within your bullshit threshold, because some people are cool with it. Like, do what you need to do over there, don't bring it over here. As long as the house taken care of, we good. Like, that's under their bullshit threshold.
I didn't even know what, again, these things that I coach people through, because I actually coach people through breakups, right? These things that I coach people through, of course, these were my own findings on my own.
Yeah.
And so when I was married, being accountable wasn't on my radar. I didn't know what that meant. All I know is you're doing this to me. I didn't know I wasn't real, like I wasn't supposed to marry this guy. Like, I didn't know that. I thought that this was the love of my life. I thought, we supposed to be together forever. And that's what you're supposed to think, right?
Right.
You're supposed to.
Because my thoughts are, did he do that to you, or did you allow it to be done?
Right.
Because it was done prior to, which gave a preview of his character.
Right.
So, we all get there at different times in life. Sometimes it takes those moments where your bullshit threshold is created for you out of nowhere. You're like, whoa, okay, this is like a real ass problem for me. But for the people that are watching, like, pay attention to those things that stir your spirit up. If it don't sit well now, a baby, a ring, another relationship is not gonna help it.
Right. But these things are things that you have to become aware now.
Yeah.
Before you enter into a new situation.
Yeah.
Because again, can't nobody come in my life and do this bullshit that I went through again. Like, that's not gonna happen. Like, there are things that must happen to even get me to a point.
Yeah.
And if those things don't happen, then I'm sorry, you know. But we are gonna pause right there. This was part 1 of accountability. So next week, Muse and I are going to come back. We're gonna talk about, was that really your fault? Like, how do you decipher between...
They're not gonna like my answer.
How do you decipher whether something was really your fault or not? Should you be accountable for that? Should you not? And then we're also gonna talk about holding others accountable for the things that they've done. People don't like that. And then we're also gonna talk about accountability versus responsibility. Yes, so Muse is gonna, again, like I said, join us next week. Don't forget to like, comment, and share Just Swallow the Pill. If you would like to hear a topic on Just Swallow the Pill, or if you would like to share your accountability story with me, or just give me your input, email me at thedifficultpill@gmail.com. And if you are not following me on Instagram, my handle is @BrandyYvette. And as I always say, your crown is not on your head, it is in your soul. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you guys next week.